Tonight on CTV News, shots fired. A quiet Coquitlam cul-de-sac turned into a bullet-riddled crime scene. We'll have the details. Plus, after record-setting rainfall, the Fraser Valley now blanketed in white. A special weather statement now in effect, and
this almost looks like something from a war zone.
Assessing the damage for the first time as some Sumas Prairie residents return to their flood-ravaged homes.
This is CTV News with Angela John.
Good evening. Thank you for joining us. We begin with breaking news. Gunfire erupted tonight, sending one person to hospital. It happened in this quiet cul-de-sac in Coquitlam's Westwood Plateau neighborhood. At least a dozen bullet casings are visible, and this white Toyota RAV4 punctured with bullet holes. BC Emergency Health Services says Coquitlam RCMP contacted paramedics to respond just before 5 p.m. to Chickadee Place. One person was taken to hospital. The extent of their injuries is unknown at this time. Police have not responded to our requests for information. A semi-truck and SUV collided in a spectacular crash tonight, and amazingly, both drivers walked away relatively unscathed. The trailer of the semi-truck now in a ditch, suspended in the air. The damage to the passenger side of the silver SUV is obvious. It happened at the intersection of 176th Street and 88th Avenue in Surrey just before 5 p.m. Mounties are now appealing for witnesses and dash cam footage. After being shut down for 3 weeks, the Trans Mountain Pipeline is expected to restart tomorrow. The valves were turned off as a precautionary measure. Trans Mountain says the pipeline remained in safe condition throughout the shutdown, and there is no apparent damage. Crews have been working around the clock to clear highways and bridges, allowing access to and from the pipeline. The province had asked residents to limit their fuel supply to 30 liters until December 14th in response to the pipeline shutting down. So far, no word if that order will end sooner with this development. Highway 99 has now reopened between Pemberton and Lillooet. So the highway had been closed since December 1st due to mudslides in the area. The Transportation Ministry says weight restrictions are in place along the route, and commercial vehicles exceeding 14,500 kilograms cannot be safely accommodated. And life is slowly returning to normal for many people in flood-ravaged Abbotsford, but for some, this is the beginning of a long and difficult chapter. The cleanup and rebuilding is just starting for dozens of homeowners. Now that part of Sumas Prairie evacuation order has been lifted, CTV's Penny Daflos brings us a snapshot of the difficult days ahead.
The scale of the flooding is shocking from the air, but on the ground, it can only be described
This is all gone.
as heartbreaking devastation.
I'm 5'2", it was just at my eye level.
With the evacuation order just lifted, the cleanup and damage assessment is in full swing at the Ripples Estate Winery on Sumas Prairie.
This almost looks like something from a war zone, doesn't it?
Antiques are waterlogged, the family distillery destroyed.
That's how much water is still remaining in the still.
And it's not just display product destined for the trash.
We have no immediate inventory, and with our 20 acres of blueberry fields that have been underwater for 2 weeks, those plants won't have survived.
What was once an idyllic Fraser Valley venue
Crying doesn't help.
will need a lot of work before the next wedding slated for May. What few staff they can keep on had their own homes damaged as well.
There's 2 feet of water. It's a big loss.
But they're rolling up their sleeves.
Lots of friends and family and complete strangers.
The Mosterman family hasn't just lost their livelihood, their home is on the property, and precious keepsakes are also damaged. Nothing was insured, and they don't qualify for current disaster relief programs.
It's tremendously sad here. There's a lot of destruction that the flood, as well as the rain and the mudslides and landslides.
It's clear now it'll take years to get Abbotsford back the way it was, with many people required to do the difficult work.
We've identified over 400 different positions that we feel are going to be happening here as we go through the cleanup.
Most of Sumas Prairie is still under evacuation orders, so many homeowners and small business owners are still waiting to see what their properties look like as the floodwaters continue to recede. Penny Daflos, CTV News, Abbotsford.
Now to the other flood-stricken city of Merritt, where more residents were given the green light to return home after the city lifted evacuation orders on Friday. But as CTV's Ben Nesbitt tells us, snow and freezing temperatures are now complicating what was already expected to be a daunting cleanup effort.
everywhere you look, it's people trying to get their lives back together here.
A frantic cleanup effort underway in Merritt. Hundreds more residents were given the green light to return late Friday as the city lifted the evacuation order for residents in phases 3 and 4. They're now arriving home to a fresh layer of snow and freezing temperatures, making cleanup efforts that much tougher.
A lot going on today. Lots of people are back and people are cleaning up and stuff piled on the streets. We're hauling mud away.
Merritt resident Howard McKinnon has been taking his excavator around the city, offering a hand to anyone who needs it. And while evacuation orders have been lifted for most properties, 366 have been deemed unlivable. City officials say that number could rise.
We expect this number to start to vary as people are getting back into their homes. We are finding some that are unlivable that were not included, and so we're including them to make sure those people get services.
Regarding the city's water supply, residents were previously under a do not consume order. Interior Health has now downgraded that order to a boil water advisory.
A couple of major milestones yesterday to bringing the residents back to Merritt and starting to work to get back to a sense of normalcy.
A long road to recovery still lies ahead. McKinnon says with a lack of help from all levels of government, residents have taken on a do-it-yourself mindset.
Really at this point, nobody's counting on any help from anybody officially, so it's we're just going to carry on doing what we're doing.
BC's Minister of Public Safety, Mike Farnworth, is expected to visit Merritt and assess the damage next week. Ben Nesbitt, CTV News.
A special weather statement is in effect for Metro Vancouver and the Fraser Valley this weekend. The valley already getting quite a bit of snow this morning, but more is on the way. Up to 10 centimeters is expected Sunday evening into Monday morning, potentially impacting the morning commute. Drivers are being asked to use winter tires when driving on major highways. Vancouver police are stepping up enforcement to catch impaired drivers this holiday season as part of their annual winter counterattack campaign with ICBC. Several road checks have been set up throughout the city where drivers can be stopped for a roadside breathalyzer test. Anyone found driving under the influence of alcohol or drugs could have their vehicle impounded and face criminal charges. New Westminster police are looking for a missing man who was last seen yesterday. Juma Magnus Denlady was last seen in the 300 block of McBride Boulevard. Denlady is described as 36 years old, 5'6", and approximately 150 pounds. He is bald with brown eyes. He was last seen wearing a green jacket with black shoes, black pants, and a light blue face mask. His family is concerned for his well-being as he is in need of medication. Over 1,800 Christmas meals are being served this weekend at the Union Gospel Mission in the downtown east side. The Christmas meals included turkey, stuffing, potatoes, and lots more. This year's meals comes as many people are struggling across the province with the major flooding and the ongoing pandemic. And that makes giving back this year extra special for the volunteers.
I hope that love and kindness that I'm showing is reciprocated. If it's not to me, then it is to somebody else. Love and compassion sort of happens like a snowball effect. So the more you care, the more others care for others. So it's sort of, you know, it just keeps going down the road, and that's just such an impactful thing to be part of.
This year's meals are served as a to-go style rather than a large sit-down dinner, but the message and care that comes with every meal stays the same. Scientists are urgently trying to answer critical questions about the Omicron variant. COVID-19 cases are also surging in Canada. The urgent call for boosters across the country to protect Canadians against this unpredictable strain. Plus, a convenient reunion, a moment of joy for this little boy who is dealing with the devastating floods in Abbotsford. Stay with us.
CTV News is brought to you in part by Park Royal. Redefine the way you shop, dine, and play this holiday season.
Every day across the province, brave and committed healthcare workers are on the front lines keeping us safe. It takes a team. A message from the Hospital Employees Union.
There are few things as majestic as BC's forests. They nurture life and inspire wonder. BC has a new vision for forests, to better care for old growth, to build meaningful partnerships with Indigenous peoples, and to move forward with new, innovative jobs to support workers and families. Now is the time to look up and look ahead, so our forests can help sustain us for a promising future.
Time is running out for the VGH Millionaire Lottery with 9 amazing grand prize options you don't want to miss out. Get in now for our early bird worth over $215,000. Prizes include an Audi e-tron Quattro and a Tesla Model 3, or hop aboard a private jet with 5 friends to your favorite sun destination. Or take $125,000 cash. Early bird deadline, December 17th. Tickets won't last. Go to millionaireLottery.com.
Kickoff football game day in style. CTV and BC Ram truck dealers are giving away the ultimate tailgate party package. Your chance to win $5,000 to outfit your very own customized tailgate party. Enter to win at ctvvancouver.ca.
We made a promise to redefine everything a truck can be. And we've made good on that promise by winning back-to-back-to-back Motor Trend Truck of the Year awards.
Wake up your breakfast with the new spicy habanero bacon and egg McMuffin, only at McDonald's.
Will BC follow other provinces and bring in COVID booster shots early? Monday on CTV Morning Live, what health officials are now recommending and what we know about the spread of the Omicron variant. Plus, how you can help tackle food insecurity for kids over the holidays.
COVID-19 cases in Canada's 2 largest provinces continue to rise. Ontario and Quebec are seeing some of the highest daily infections in several months. It all comes as scientists urgently try to answer critical questions about the Omicron variant. CTV's Heather Butts has more.
COVID cases in Ontario are climbing. Saturday's tally hit 1,053 positive tests. In Quebec, too, another jump with more than 1,500 cases, both provinces marking the highest daily count since last spring. The vast majority are the Delta variant, but it's adding to concerns for the latest strain. Omicron has now spread to 40 countries across the globe, just 1 week after it was declared a variant of concern.
It's reasonable for Canadians to raise their guard in the face of the uncertainty.
The main reason health officials are raising the alarm: the variant has more than 30 mutations on its spike protein, seen here in orange, blue, and green. That's 3 times more mutations than the Delta variant. Researchers in southern Africa suspect Omicron is driving a dramatic surge in cases.
Because of the exponential growth in infections, because it's taken over and replaced the Delta variant in our country, we think transmissibility may be an issue.
Preliminary data shows the risk of reinfection for those who have already had the virus is 3 times that of other strains. But the WHO says a key question is the severity of illness. In South Africa, early reports suggest symptoms may be less severe.
The people that are admitted with the Omicron variant in Gauteng province actually have less severe disease than previous waves, but this is based on very few patients very early on.
NACI is strongly recommending all Canadians 50 and over get a 3rd dose of an mRNA vaccine, and those who are 18 plus be offered a booster 6 months after their initial shots.
By getting a booster, you give your body more time to train and to get prepared for Omicron. So that's why a booster is helpful.
The WHO has set a target of every country vaccinating 40% of their population by the end of this year. Health experts are hoping that will help prevent future waves. Heather Butts, CTV News, Toronto.
And let's take a look at the booster rollout across Canada. Different provinces are targeting different age groups for booster shots. Nunavut is letting people aged 12 and older get a booster, while the Northwest Territories, PEI, and Alberta are opening it up to all adults. But Alberta is booking appointments right now for those ages 60 and up. Ontario and Yukon are offering boosters to people 50 and up. Saskatchewan and New Brunswick are offering 3rd doses to people 65 and older. BC, Newfoundland and Labrador, and Nova Scotia are offering doses to those 70 and older. A new study suggests the Omicron variant may have acquired at least one of its mutations by picking up genetic material from the virus, which causes the common cold. Health officials say if the variant becomes more like the common cold, it could become more transmissible than other variants while only causing a mild or asymptomatic disease. However, it remains unclear if the Omicron variant is more transmissible than other strains over the virus. Ottawa has signed a deal with 2 drug manufacturers for antiviral drugs to treat COVID-19. Canada has placed an order for 1 million of Pfizer's antiviral pills, along with 500,000 Merck pills, with an option for 50,000 more. Both treatments are currently being reviewed by Health Canada. Ontario's liquor supplier is warning shoppers to buy early to avoid disappointment. Supply chain issues have been a persistent concern during the pandemic. As CTV's Natalie Van Roy reports, that may affect people's holiday booze buying.
It's a time of year when many enjoy a glass of wine, champagne, or a favorite cocktail.
Champagne we would want for New Year's Eve, and luckily I have a few bottles still at the house, but we'll probably pick up a few more.
And with the busiest shopping month of the year now here, Ontario's liquor seller is warning of a potential booze shortage.
Talking about a supply chain, so it is a disappointment for people, especially at Christmas time.
The LCBO says transportation issues and the ongoing considerations of COVID-19 are to blame.
For sure are logistical issues, but I think it's to be expected if you look at what's going on globally. But everyone's working hard to do their parts.
Another factor, changes to consumer demand.
People are buying a lot more goods rather than services because they're not going out and doing things.
The Crown Corporation's chief supply chain officer says imported items are more likely to be affected.
Australia, New Zealand, for example, just by nature of how far it has to come.
The LCBO's chief supply chain officer, Nick Nano, says champagnes, tequila, scotch, and wines from New Zealand, Australia, and South America will likely be affected by the shortage.
It's really hard to predict exactly when this will be done. Part of it is based on the pandemic.
Nano says there will still be international products available, but people should shop early to avoid disappointment and maybe even try something new.
Just be open-minded, be patient, be kind to the staff, and understand that a lot of products may be in limited supply as you get there.
With the supply chain issue expected to continue into the new year. Natalie Van Roy, CTV News.
Protesters in Quebec blocked CP train tracks for much of the day today in an act of solidarity with Wet'suwet'en hereditary chiefs. Protesters are calling on the RCMP to leave the territory of the Wet'suwet'en. At least one CP train was delayed because of the blockade. The Northern BC Nation is in an ongoing land dispute with the RCMP and Coastal GasLink. A wayward barge that got away during the historic storm last month is now getting famous. Coming up, we'll tell you how people are putting their so-called attraction on the map. Stay with us.
Time is running out for the VGH Millionaire Lottery with 9 amazing grand prize options. You don't want to miss out. Get in now for our early bird worth over $215,000. Prizes include an Audi e-tron Quattro and a Tesla Model 3, or hop aboard a private jet with 5 friends to your favorite sun destination. Or take $125,000 cash. Early bird deadline, December 17th. Tickets won't last. Go to millionaireLottery.com.
Some like you to think they still build the best trucks. But according to just about anybody who's handing out awards, Ram currently builds the best trucks. So if you're shopping for a truck today, here it is. If you're shopping in the past, well, good luck with that. Ram, the #1 brand in new vehicle quality in the automotive industry. Get 3.49% financing for 96 months on our expanding inventory. Visit your Ram dealer today.
Dan, tell me about the decision to use grass-fed beef in your restaurant.
We want to offer, first off, something that is delicious. We want people to indulge and have a great time here, but we also want it to be a smart choice, too.
Cheers on that.
Cheers.
We can't wait to take action on climate change.
For over a decade, we've been working to reduce emissions from ships, trucks, and equipment at the Port of Vancouver. But we can do more. That's why we're working together with our partners to phase out port-related emissions by 2050.
You haven't missed it. Black Friday continues at the Brick Mattress Store. Get 50% off this spring wall Eurotop pocket coil set. And this spring wall mattress, all sizes are in stock. Only $2.99 each. The Brick Mattress Store. The right mattress, guaranteed.
Move 103.5 is Vancouver's Christmas music station.
It's beginning to look a lot.
All Christmas music. All the time. Move 103.5. Also available on iHeartRadio.
Closed captioning of this program is brought to you in part by BC Liquor. Get expert advice from friendly staff. Please enjoy responsibly.
Welcome back to CTV News. It's time for your forecast now. We had a mix of sun and cloud in Vancouver today, but lots of snow elsewhere in BC. Here's a look at the satellite radar. We had partly cloudy skies across the lower mainland today with some snow falling in parts of the lower mainland. Overnight, we will see some cloudy skies with a low of -1. Tomorrow, expect more cloudy conditions and a high of 4. A special weather statement is in effect for Metro Vancouver and the Fraser Valley with up to 10 centimeters of snow expected to fall tomorrow and into Monday morning. As for tomorrow around the province, your provincial forecast will be at the bottom of your screen. For the North Island, a mix of sun and cloud across the region with a high of 30 degrees in Port Hardy and a high of 4 in Campbell River and the Comox Valley. For the South Island, mainly cloudy with a few sunny breaks with a high of 5 degrees for Tofino and the Gulf Islands and Victoria, and a high of 2 in Port Alberni. Over on the Sunshine Coast, a mix of sun and cloud with a high of 4 degrees in Sechelt and 3 in Powell River. And along the Sea to Sky corridor, mainly sunny, -3 in Whistler and 0 in Squamish. Here in the lower mainland, more sun and cloud, high of 4 degrees in Vancouver, Richmond and Surrey, and the North Shore with a high of -2. Here's what we can expect for the next few days. Some snow mixed with rain headed our way and into Monday, and a change of more snowfall is in the forecast as we head back into the weekend. A total solar eclipse descended over Antarctica today, bringing darkness to the continent's continual summer daylight. This was the second and last total eclipse of the year. It was also partially visible from South Africa and southern Australia. Scientists had a rare chance to study space weather and Earth's electrical currents. The next total solar eclipse in Antarctica will not be seen until 2039. A runaway barge that's been grounded at a downtown Vancouver beach has now become so famous it's got its own review pages. This empty barge now seems to be part of the downtown waterfront and has become an attraction of sorts. It was sent adrift during last month's historic storm. TripAdvisor has listed it as the 237th thing to do in Vancouver. There's also a Google review page for it. It has 4.9 stars based on 11 reviews. One person called it the biggest attraction around. Another said they got engaged in front of it. Now, this barge was supposed to be moved on Monday, but the owner of Century Marine says he's still waiting for approval from Transport Canada, so the move might be delayed once again. An Edmonton charity is collecting donations for those affected by the devastating floods here in BC. Islamic Relief Canada is accepting donations at a local mosque to assist with flood recovery efforts. Volunteers are collecting non-perishable food items and other supplies, which will be transported to our province tomorrow.
On Sunday, at the end of this week, this guy's heading down to Calgary. They're going to fill whatever space is remaining in this thing. We're hoping to try to fill it as best as we can here before then.
The charity says it's happy to be in a position where it is able to help others in need. And a little boy who's been dealing with the floods got a big surprise at a convenience store. 10-year-old Nicholas Merzinski was shocked to see his grandfather. Just look at their smiles. Now, Merzinski and his mother, they live in Abbotsford, away from their extended family in Ontario. His grandfather came to visit to provide some comfort after a few stressful weeks of dealing with the storm. Tonight, the Canucks have suffered yet another loss in this disappointing season.
There's Letang, puts one in front. Crosby scores.
The Canucks' struggles continue thanks in part to the spectacular goal by Sidney Crosby, his third of the season. Pittsburgh winger Jake Gensel also put away the other 3 goals for the 4th hat trick of his career. The Canucks still haven't won more than 2 games in a row all season. Their next game is Monday against the Kings. The Vancouver Opera is taking the stage this weekend, the group's first performance since the pandemic halted live shows. 2 performances are hitting the stage at the Queen Elizabeth Theatre, premiering the timeless love story Offer et Eurydice. The show will be performed in Italian with English subtitles projected above the stage.
So it is a perfect opera. Rising from the ashes of hell. We all sort of feel that way right now coming out of the pandemic. And this opera is exquisite.
The shows are already sold out at 60% capacity. There will be more opportunities to see the group perform next year. The Vancouver Opera will be putting on 2 different shows before the season ends. The McAllisters are once again away on vacation. Kevin! Ah! Kevin, now home alone near the nation's capital, will show you the house that gets festive inspiration from a classic Christmas movie.